Greetings, mortals! This video is a continuation of your hard-pressed questions about exterminators and myself as an individual. As we have the luxury of time on our side today, I have selected 25 questions to answer in this video, and will be going into further detail in my responses as much as I can. Due to my status as an exterminator, I can only really speak for the total population of exterminators that reside in heaven. To put it into perspective, hell maintains an average population of 15 billion denizens. There is one exterminator per every 300 of hell's denizens, bringing the total population of exterminators to around 50 million. However, we only make up a small percentage of the total number of angels in heaven, roughly 5% according to some. Going by that math, the total number of angels residing in heaven could be over 1 billion. I should mention that exterminator is a status that very few in heaven wish to obtain, but there are 3 ways one can achieve it. The first and most common way is by being born into the life. True, it may not be something that's within your control, but it's a fact. The second way is by appointment by the powers. This happens for a multitude of reasons, but is usually because an angel has committed a sin and is granted the opportunity to choose their fate, be banished into hell, or serve as an exterminator until the next extermination day passes. The third and least common way one can become an exterminator is by volunteering. Volunteers typically require extensive psychological screening by the powers and virtues, and must meet several requirements before their request is approved. These screenings occur under the belief that an ordinary angel who wants to become an exterminator could be experiencing sinful thoughts and is seeking an outlet that they can unleash these thoughts on. Such individuals are considered to be highly dangerous and can rarely be trusted. Angels are given several rights and opportunities that exterminators cannot be trusted with. For example, an angel can be entrusted to carry out the duties of a guardian angel on earth. Exterminators cannot. Angels may also be chosen to accompany the archangels as they communicate messages between man and God. An exterminator would never be considered for such a role. We may be entrusted to communicate the status of hell and its denizens to God, but only if the situation has reached critical status. The X over the right eye of an exterminator is a symbol of one's status as a full soldier. Those still in training will not receive this mark until they are ready. Think of it like a brand logo. It's the mark of the officiality of one's rank as an exterminator. Of course they can, though it may be difficult. Most exterminators experience trouble getting along with one another. This can be for any number of different reasons: conflicting personalities, personal rivalries, or a general lack of interest in the individuals that surround them tend to be the most common issues exterminators face when it comes to looking for love. Most will even agree to be partners, simply for the sake of carrying on a bloodline. Well, yes, those that reside in heaven are granted that privilege. I would say it's possible, yes. However, it would be incredibly unlikely. Heaven and hell differ greatly in size. To put it into perspective, the size difference between the 2 realms would be like comparing planet Earth to the Sun. The Sun is so large that 1.3 million Earths can fit inside of it. That's how big heaven is when compared to hell. And between the number of angels that eventually fall, the number of exterminators that are lost in the extermination each year, and those who arrive in heaven after death, overpopulation is a threat that heaven need not worry about anytime soon. Much of the time, we simply just sit and wait for the next one to arrive. We do our best not to fight amongst ourselves, and spend time with our families if any members have survived. and spending time indulging in our own interests and hobbies. Yes, we exterminators train up for months before every extermination. Quite vigorously, as a matter of fact. Granted, we cannot accurately replicate the climate or terrain of hell, or the abilities of most demons, but we manage to brush up on the basics, work with new recruits alongside more seasoned individuals, and practice new attack and defense strategies up until the next extermination. Most of the time, I, along with many other exterminators, will choose to use a sword or a spear. Spears are lightweight and easy to use without having to be too close to an opponent. Swords, while they are considerably heavier, are double-edged and work quite efficiently. My favorite weapon to use, however, would be a crossbow. It may not be the most practical weapon by any means, but it is quite efficient at taking down demons from a safe distance. Most exterminators share a simple common interest: weapons and artillery. We find devices such as firearms, tanks, aircrafts, and nuclear weapons to be utterly fascinating. However, such weapons are viewed as far too devastating to be used during the extermination. Close-range combat serves as a reminder that we are taking lives by our own hands, and that fact is emphasized tenfold when we look into a victim's eyes moments before they draw their final breath. Plus, imagine the amount of work it would take to get a tank from heaven into hell and back again. If you die having never committed a single sinful act in your life, I believe you'll be ranked higher than an angel. That's grounds for sainthood, if I'm not mistaken. You may be eligible for placement amongst the first triad in the hierarchy of angels at the very least. When we die, our consciousness is plunged into what is known as the void. The void is an infinite expanse of nothingness that extends for eternity. In the void you shall feel no joy, no pain, no sadness, no thirst, no hunger. There will be no sound, nothing. Imagine the deepest sleep you've ever fallen into. That will become your reality once you've been plunged into the void, and it shall continue on until the end of time. Oh, goodness, where to start? There's Alabaster, one of the few that willingly volunteered to become an exterminator. He's not quite right anymore, and enjoys making demons suffer slow, painful, gory deaths during the extermination. There's Flax, one exterminator who really can't be bothered. He averages around 5 kills per extermination, while everyone else averages between 20 and 40. The exterminator that takes the crown for being the most unbearable to me, however, is called Silver. She's like Alabaster, but 10 times worse. The only reason she hasn't been banished into hell yet is because she holds the highest kill count after every extermination. It wouldn't be so bad if she didn't spend a month gloating over her victories afterwards. Not in any case that has been documented. It would appear that my situation is the first recorded case of an exterminator being saved by a demon. That isn't to say it has never happened before. However, most demons pounce at the first opportunity to take an exterminator's head as a trophy. Impossible. No demon could trust an exterminator enough to allow one to assist them with anything. And exterminators are too bloodthirsty to find it worth their while to help a demon. The truce between Blue Raven and I seems to be unique amongst the usual relationship between demons and exterminators. I believe the Princess of Hell is every angel's favorite demon. I believe Blue Raven is the most docile of his kind, along with Princess Charlotte and Tom Trench. Most do not. We kill at every opportunity we're given during the extermination. However, we do tend to spare imps and demons that are expecting and find themselves without shelter, as well as individuals that we know for certain will be too much for us to handle. It may not come across as professional, but in our eyes, it's the run-of-the-mill demons that are a dime a dozen and serve as our main target. Possible, yes. However, I believe the question remains as to whether or not there will be enough individuals seeking redemption who will actually be able to achieve it. At least enough that the annual extermination will no longer be necessary. There is also a significant number of demons that have obtained a high social standing in Hell Society and have gained a significant amount of territory as a result that may not be so keen on letting go of that status. Such a feat is not possible. Speaking hypothetically, however, the death of the Lord would plunge everything in existence into the void. The entire universe as a whole would cease to exist. He isn't the worst sinner that's out there. However, I would prefer it if he stayed no less than 10 feet away from me at all times. Our brother's name is only mentioned in heaven as a cautionary tale for other angels. It serves as a reminder that no matter what one's social standing might be in heaven, even those closest to the Lord can fall from grace if they choose to repeat his past transgressions. But everyone knows that Lucifer is still his favorite. Depending on the individual, I presume one of two things would happen. I would either be killed on sight or be verbally toyed with until I lost my patience. Given my current state, I cannot afford an encounter with an overlord of hell. I suppose I would just keep my distance and avoid making any moves against them at this present time. Blue Raven, I believe this is a question for you to answer.
Alrighty then. How old am I by demon standards? Well, that's a loaded question. Some people think it's how long you've lived on Earth with the number of days, months, or years you've spent in hell added onto that. Others just count by the amount of time one spends in hell alone. Just to make it seem less pathetic, I'll go with the former and say I am 23 by demon standards, which really isn't much when you've got demons like Alistair, Vox, Angel Dust, Mimsy, etc., who have been down here decades longer. Back to you, Gray.
That will be all for this video. We sincerely apologize if this video was a bit longer than anticipated. Stay tuned for more Q&A videos like this, and leave any questions you have in the comment section below. Have a blessed day, and God be with ye.